I want to give you an example of one of the biggest lies that ever been told since mankind. And it comes from a bunch of whining, complaining, lost people that cannot see. It is ridiculous, but I understand it. One of the biggest lies that's ever been told, the biggest lie that ever been told, is that a mother's job is the toughest in the world. That raising children for mothers is the toughest job that they can have. That is a bald-faced lie. That's a big lie. This is from the Atlantic. A Parent magazine poll found that 92% of mothers agree with the statement, there's no tougher job than being a mother. They say mom here, but mother. That is a lie. It's straight out of hell. One of the easiest jobs on this side of heaven is for a woman to be a mother. They tell you that it's the toughest job because they want you to have false sympathy for them and make you think that their life is tougher than what anybody else has. These are just, and the women who think this are a bunch of whining, victim mentality, angry females. That's what they're really saying to you. I'm lost. I'm angry. And because of it, it's hard being a mother. No, it's not. Even according to the Atlantic, Oprah Winfrey trots out a similar phrase on her website. Watch this from Oprah.com.
The truth about motherhood. Motherhood is a wonderful responsibility, but it can also be exhausting, confusing, infuriating, and downright funny. I always say moms have the toughest job in the world if you're doing it right, Oprah says.
Another bald-faced lie, straight out of hell. A mother's job is not the toughest job, period. Oprah is lying. And the women who think and say this are lying to you. What they're really saying is that they're weak, they're lost, they're angry, and they have no love. Oprah, you told Harpo to beat me, is lying. Here's some more lies about mother's job being the toughest. And watch, these women are just angry and lost. This is why they need men to guide them. Or they need to return to the father, and the father will guide them. CBS, watch these people sit here and just lie. This is from CBS. In their first interview together, Michelle Obama and Michelle Obama's mother talk about the challenges of raising kids. Watch this from CBS.
Michelle Obama says it was never easy being the wife of a driven politician.
You know, I'm working and managing childcare and sick kids and trying to coordinate my job, and he's flittering in. Tensions started to arise.
Jealousy?
And we knew that we needed to have a place where we could really work these feelings out.
Was he like, great, let's go to counseling?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I can't wait.
You know, it's just one of those things, like, we don't need help from anybody. And I was like, because for me, I was like, I need to go to somebody who's going to tell you, you're wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah.
We have a wonderful marriage, but it takes work.
Work that was made easier thanks to her mother, Marion Robinson.
When your daughter becomes First Lady of the United States and your son-in-law is the president, how do you wrap your brain around that?
It's pretty difficult, let's face it. I felt like this was going to be a very hard life for both of them. And I was worried about their safety. And I was worried about my grandkids. I mean, that's what got me to move to D.C.
Why did you want her there? Why was it important to you?
Oh, because for the girls, you know, I wanted them to come home to family.
You're listening to the devil speak. Now you see why women need men to guide them? They're lost when they don't have a man guiding them. As God is the head of Christ, Christ is the head of the woman. When the light is not there to guide the women in darkness, this is what you got. A bunch of pitiful, I'm a victim, it's just so hard, jealous, envious women. And they want the world to agree with them on lies that their job is tough. It's not. Aren't you sick of whining, complaining people? I've never seen so many pathetic, whining victims in my whole days. And men are complaining just like women, so it's not just the women. There are women who are seeing this and they're overcoming it because they're starting to work on themselves. They realize this is not a normal way to live. This is the way of the world, the way of the children of the lie. And they, at the same time, they want sympathy while telling you they're strong. A woman is so strong. Another lie. No such thing as a strong woman, just weak men. Well, according to the Atlantic, the fallen Messiah, Barack Obama, told an our TV station, there's no tougher job than being a mom. Watch this from KCRG.
What I know, that there's no tougher job than being a mom. And when I think about what Michelle's had to do, when I think about my own mom, a single mother raising me and my sister, that's work. So anybody who would argue otherwise, I think, probably needs to rethink their statement.
What a lie. What a beta. A beta male. Poor Michelle. She had no help to overcome her fallen state. Her husband couldn't bring her out of it, and her mama couldn't bring her out of it, and she lost. It's from the Washington Post. They say moms, but mothers have long used online spaces to discuss the realities of parenthood. For some people, they say mom, but I'm telling you, it's mother. Social media is the only place unfiltered conversations about loneliness can play out. Watch this on TikTok.
Your husband works, and you're like literally stuck at home 24 hours of the day. Like, I don't want to cry, but I am exhausted. Oh. I have to make breakfast for my kids because they're hungry. I shouldn't wake up every day trying to figure out how am I going to be mentally okay. Us as moms, as wives, the ones who cannot go outside and make bread.
How would you like for that one to be?
Because they're caring for children all day. We deserve the most praise in the world, bruh.
Ego.
Something I struggle with so much in this season of motherhood is how much I am needed all the time. It's so much not about you that you literally feel like you have no identity, and it is very, very hard.
I can't do anything without getting anxiety. I can't go anywhere without getting anxiety. I can't go in a car, on the highway, on the road.
Having a kid is too complicated. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to be responsible for this tiny human. I just want to be responsible for myself, and it's too late now. I didn't know parenthood was going to be like this. I didn't know I was going to be doing it all by myself with no support system, no family, no anything. I didn't know. If I would have known, I would have never done it.
What the?
Can you be quiet, please?
You want the kids are messed up?
Go get it.
Beta, how would you like for those women to have your children? See how women destroy children? No love. Nothing but complaint. What the? Now, men, you see why you need to let the woman be added onto you and not go out there looking for one? You're going to end up with that. Or even worse. What a mess! So the next time someone tell you hear a mother or even a guy say a mother's job is the toughest job, they're lying to you. And you tell them, you know what, you're lying. That's just another made-up lie to get false sympathy for themselves. so they could stay in their health. There is this so-called trend thing that is happening right now. What a mess. And I want you to see it. I don't know. I'll let you see it first. So this is from The Blaze. A new viral fitness trend on TikTok has media outlet buzzing about the health benefit of silent walking. Silent walking is described as taking a walk without music, without a phone, no distraction. Watch this from Fox.
The newest fascination on TikTok is silent walking. It sounds so nice.
Doesn't it? I could use that right now, just like it sounds. You take a walk without music, without a phone, no distractions. It sounds so peaceful, Chelsea. I bet you don't want us talking to you.
It combines the benefits of exercise and meditation and nature. Right here in this moment, there's this breeze, right? Like, it's a nice day in Houston. We can just think about that and take a break. It doesn't solve all of our problems, but taking a 15, 30-minute walk can make all the difference in our mental health, yeah. Organically, I know you're going to feel better just after a few minutes, but scientifically, it's proven as well that things are happening. All right.
And so what is this all about?
So they're calling it silent walking, and it's a viral trend. But it's just people taking a walk. So they're talking about it as if it's like this discovery, like, oh, taking a walk is good for you.
Haven't people been taking a walk ever since mankind hit this earth?
It's kind of what like defines us as human beings.
Right.
We walk upright. But they're called, and also no one in the clip talks about how the people doing the trend have their phones and they're videotaping themselves doing the trend. So obviously they're not free of distractions. No one mentions that they have their phone.
Oh, God.
And, you could say it's for attention. It's like, oh, I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking a walk. But it's just silly that they would come out with all these studies, like the health benefits of taking a walk, and they label it, they give it a title, silent walking.
And then the women that report, they're all excited and emotional. Right. They're like, this is just a brand new thing that they thought of.
Right. They got all the big words like, oh, scientifically it makes sense that it would feel good when you're walking around.
What a mess.
I know, right?
And all they're doing is promote their egos.
Yeah. So yeah, silent walking. When I saw this, I'll be honest with you, I had some sort of like reaction to it. You know what I mean? I usually don't. These huge news stories that we cover about the wars and stuff, they don't really affect me.
Right.
But for some reason, this silent walking really, it got me. I was like, this is the end. This is the end of everything.
Yeah. No, my country, God, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Amazing.
Right.
I wanted to ask why you're here. There's this thing that some paper is promoting, according to a report I heard, and I don't have the whole story, but they're saying that don't answer your phone. Let me see. Don't call people and don't answer your phone, but text them.
Where'd you see that? I mean,
I think it was, I believe I heard it on Fox News this morning, but I could be wrong. It was some news outlet, and it's some type of new thing they're starting. They're encouraging that you shouldn't answer your phone or call, but text.
I wonder why they say that.
Because they're dumb.
Yeah. I heard someone say once that, imagine if text messaging came out before telephones.
Yeah.
And if that were the case and telephones came out later, everyone would be like, oh, thank God we don't have to text on these little phones anymore,
Right.
And it would be opposite of what it is. But that doesn't make any sense to me, because as far as communication goes, I could talk about this for hours, but as far as communication goes, face-to-face conversation is number one. You know what I mean? Even if you're sitting across from somebody and you really do communicate and get your point across, it's like a small miracle. It is. And it has more to do with body language than anything else. So phone calls are one step below that. And then text messaging, email, writing a letter, those are even below phone calls. Because even when you're talking on the phone with somebody, you really can't, you can tell, you can get some sort of intuitive reading of what they're really trying to say. but it's tougher than face to face.
I didn't get the whole story, so I can't think of the paper or something they mentioned, I believe. But I believe it was on Fox and Friends this morning. And what I realized, if this is true, that evil doesn't want human beings to have any contact. It's trying to separate the human people as much as possible.
Yep.
So it can destroy you.
Yeah.
That's
so
all
true.
this is about.
I mean, how many people, write things in text messages that they would never say to you person to person?
Right.
They hide behind it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the miscommunications that happen with text messages because you don't get the little inflections that you would face to face.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what they mean when they're texting you.
I have noticed that more and more people, when they do call, they don't leave a message.
Right.
And then they expect you to know that they have called. And they're like, why you didn't call me back? I'm like, you didn't call. I did
Yeah,
call.
right.
I'm like, no, you didn't.
Right.
And like, well, if you look at your phone, you can tell that I call. I'm like, but even if I did see that, I wouldn't call you back because it wasn't that important. You didn't leave a
Right.
message.
Right. If it was that important, you would have left a message.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Why make a phone call and don't leave a message, but expect the person to call you back?
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Can you get any dumber than that?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to look into that about the text messages
Right.
thing because that's interesting that they would recommend text messages over phone calls.
They did. Hassan, have you ever done that? Call somebody and not leave a message, but expecting them to call you back?
I definitely have. You, I think.
You have done that for real?
Yeah, I have. No, but it's funny because hearing this report, I think that's like a millennial thing. Millennials rather text than pick up the phone. But the good news is Zoomers, the new young kids, they rather FaceTime you. So
That's
it
better
could
than
be
not.
getting better.
Based.
Yeah.
Based Zoomers.
Right.
Zoomers want to see your face. So
Amazing.
I think it's the millennial generation that did this text and don't call thing.
And so the Zoomers are smarter than the millennials?
I mean, I don't know. It could just be the technology of that era, and text messaging really was like, I guess, prevalent in the millennial zone, and now FaceTime is for the Zoomers, so they embrace whatever is technologically
Yeah.
correct.
Right. Texting is so 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's the millennial generation.
Really?
So these Zoomers, they'll FaceTime you too much. It's like, hey, we don't need to.
Right.
I don't need to see you for this conversation.
Yeah. I've been FaceTiming my little cousins since they were 2-3 years old, and now
Wow.
they do it on their own. They're like 5-6 years old.
They do it on
They
their
know how to
own.
FaceTime.
And one of the biggest game that's been played on the blacks, and not just the blacks, but primarily the blacks, because evil work through them, and then other evil people jump on board to promote their evil. But one of the most evil game that's been played on the blacks is that they've been told it's not their fault. There is slavery. There is systemic racism. There is somebody else. It's the white supremacists. There is Jim Crow. There is systemic racism. Is not you. You need reparation. You need welfare. You need affirmative action. You need for the white people to lower the standard because it's racism. You can't get into a white school because the white standard is too high for you. So we're going to make the white people lower the standard. And so you have a right to be mad. You have a right to be angry. And most of the blacks, not all, most of the blacks have fallen for the lie. And generation and generation and generation are getting worse and not better. Have you had the talk, they say, with your children about the police? It's hard on the black man in America. Poor blacks. They're not telling them it starts in the home with your mama. You got to overcome your mama by forgiving her, but they tell her it's outside the home. And so the blacks grow in anger, and they only get worse. Here's an example of the blacks getting worse and not better with the anger. Because of anger. Anger is evil. Anger is your enemy. It is not your friend. Why do you think women push anger, emotions? They tell you should be. It's good. Because they are miserable. And Satan tried to pull everybody into the hell that he's in. And he used the women to do it, to tell them that anger is good. And the man should be angry. Everybody should be emotional. I get so emotional, baby, every time I look at you. Every time I think of you, I get so emotional. Here's an example of evil working through the woman. Did you hear about this drive-through shooting? You can't even go to Jack in the Box now. This is from Fox. Law enforcement has released a surveillance video showing an incident involving a Houston Jack in the Box employee who shot at a drive-through customer. Watch this from Fox.
On March 3rd, 2021, Anthony Ramos picked up his pregnant wife and 6-year-old daughter from IAH. They drove to a Jack in the Box right near that airport. Watch as Ramos pulls up to that drive-through window. He's then greeted by Alania Ford. And once his food was handed over, an order of curly fries were missing from the bag. When he asked for them, he was told no. That's when the argument started. You can see Ramos in his red pickup truck going back and forth with Ford. She walks away, comes back, and the argument continues. This went on for roughly 9 minutes before things escalated. Watch this. As Ford walks away from the window a second time, she pulls out a gun from her pocket, checks it, and then puts it back. Another employee approaches the window to try and resolve the situation. But in the midst of that, Ford comes back and starts arguing with Ramos yet again. This time, things are more heated. Eventually, she starts throwing ketchup packets into his truck window. So he started throwing things back. The other employee closes the drive-through window and locks it. But then Ford comes back yet again, unlocks the window, points her gun directly at Ramos, and starts shooting as he speeds away. Luckily, none of those bullets struck Ramos's vehicle and no one was injured. Ford was charged and convicted of deadly conduct, and recent documents show her probation ended in June of 2023.
Amazing. And she got a fro. A red one, too. Black anger. Can you imagine shooting at the man, according to this report, because he asked for curly fries, according to the report? This is anger. You still love your anger? You still believe anger and emotions are good? Whatever happened to the customer is always right? We don't even hear that anymore. Remember, the customer is always right. We were taught that growing up, and when I went out and we go out and get jobs, if the customer is angry or the customer has a complaint, we try to take care of the customer. We don't get angry at the customer. That's gone now. How is Chicago doing, y'all? The Blaze is reporting surveillance video caught the moment when a pair of attackers ran up on a man from behind in a Chicago alley Monday afternoon. This is from CBS.
Police are looking for two men caught on camera violently attacking a person in Bucktown. Now, we want to warn you, this video may be difficult to watch. You're seeing the moment. A pair of robbers attacked a 33-year-old man yesterday afternoon in an alley near Damon and Dickens. They threw the victim into a chain-link fence and knocked him to the ground before running off with his backpack and phone.
That's love. That's love. Welcome to the black world. It's like in the homes, the children have been told the father is the problem, when it's really coming from the mother, and the children never get better because they believe the lie that it's the father, and they grow up yearning for their father. But when they start to really think about it, oh, it's my mama, it wasn't my daddy. A mama's love is not that special. After all, can you imagine this guy just walking down the alley, not paying attention, thinking that he's safe in Chicago? And those two guys looked like they were black. One seemed to be light-skinned. It could have been another race. But welcome to America. And it's going to get worse. I want to give you, because I have to tell you, men, the world needs you. The men are the light of the world and the salt of the earth, except that they've been turned away from the source that gives them the light to pass on to the world. And as a result, they're doing things that they don't realize, they don't know it. They make no sense, but they do it anyway. And they don't examine themselves to overcome it. Some do. A lot of men are doing it now, but most don't. So I want to give you 5 more rules for men. It's Manhood Hour. 5 more rules. We have been given 10 before. Now I have 5 more to add to that. Number 1, men don't own a small dog. Look at that. Men don't own a small dog. Don't walk with a small dog. And don't walk with a small dog in a stroller.
This pic right here is actually on my mood board of life goals.
What, to walk with a small dog?
Well, this specific picture of The Rock with the French Bulldog. But this is like life goals for me.
To walk around with a small dog?
Well, like a mood board to like potentially be that big body-wise and still have
you want to be a body like that man?
Yeah.
Well, you better get busy. It ain't going to happen until you start working on it.
I do the dog first. The dog, and then the body comes.
So don't walk with a small dog. Don't own a small dog. And do not put the dog in your arms like you got a baby. Look at that big old man pushing a dog in a baby stroller. What a mess. That man got a dog in the stroller. Look how big he is.
It's actually a pretty decent one. I've looked at a few.
Decent what?
Stroller.
But he should be having no dog in there.
I know. They got some real intense ones at this one store I go to.
It's really abnormal for men to walk around pushing strollers with babies in them. You definitely don't want to do it with a dog. Ooh, let the dog out. Number 2, don't drive an electric car. Get a real car. Watch this.
People who drive EVs love their cars.
Yeah, so I love it.
It's because they feel like they know the secret that no one else knows, that like EVs are an awesome drive.
It's totally electric and just love it.
It's really exciting.
There you go.
Let's talk about how quiet this car is. Because it doesn't have an engine, you don't even know it's on, but you know it's on. You don't have an engine going.
Nice.
And you're riding on the road. It glides. It's so refreshing.
There you go.
At its core, an electric car is really just a battery, an electric motor, and a set of wheels.
They're so simple. Taking care of the tires and making sure that there's wiper fluid.
I got a full tank of electricity.
Amazing. See, an electric car is a woman's car. And you hear all the reasons why. It make no noise. It's drives smooth. You're just gliding. A man don't want to glide. A man want to ride. Make noise. An electric car is for women, not for men. And number 3, don't get with a female who already has a child. I've been saying that forever. Do not get with a female who already has a child. Watch this from House of Wellness.
Children come into the mix. That can be challenging when you're trying to start a relationship, especially for those who've never had kids or been around them much.
So, to help us out, we are joined by relationship and intimacy expert, the lovely Dr. Nikki Goldstein. Nikki, what do we do? What happens when we meet someone that has kids?
I think it's really important that we don't see this as baggage, because I feel like we've had these myths circulating around that, oh, you don't want anyone that has baggage. So we actually need to change the mindset and start going, children in a relationship, like somebody that has previous children, can bring more love and fulfillment rather than seeing it as baggage. Once we start having those conversations about changing that mindset, I think then we're in a position to actually look at it in a different way.
Fascinating.
Great advice. Thanks, Dr. Nikki.
Thank you.
She want to put it on your mind, make you deceive you, right? Try to make it sound, oh, they're so nice, so lovely. So, see how emotional women are? They dress up hell and present it as good. Children want their own father, natural father, and natural mother. Number 4, don't let your mother, your grandmother, or your aunt live with your family. Watch this from this morning.
Let's speak to Kelly first of all. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Hi. You've been married for 4 years and you've got a 10-month-old son together.
Yeah.
And how's your relationship with your in-laws?
Basically, it was really good to start off with, but then she just started to get involved in everything. And at first, it wasn't too bad, but then she was like taking over, like, he needs this much milk, and he needs to go to bed at this time, and it was just like, you're not his mum, and it was causing arguments between me and my husband. And then I remember one time I'd fed him, and she was like, no, he hasn't had enough milk. She gave him milk without my permission, and he threw up everywhere.
Yeah, I heard the women to hear the truth.
Does your husband see this? Has he logged it?
He's a mummy's boy, so he doesn't really see it as much, and he doesn't really think that she's doing any harm.
And also it's difficult because she thinks she's trying to help. She's not doing anything nasty or mean. She's doing it with the best intentions to try and help.
She's lying. She's doing nasty and mean. She don't like the wife. Don't let mama, grandmama, or your aunt live with your family. You will regret it. And last but not least, and see how hard it is? The woman, oh, she's not trying to be nasty and mean. Yes, she is. What's she doing living with you anyway? And last but not least, of the 5 rules for men, 5 more rules for men. Number 5, if a woman called the cops on you, listen, guys, this should be like a natural understanding. You should already know this, and don't let the devil give you excuses. If a woman called the cops on you, leave and be done with her. The moment she called the cops, it's over. It's like when you first meet a woman and you go on that first date and you just order coffee or drink or whatever you order, and you ask why they bring the order in. You ask, are you willing to obey me? And if she says no, okay, bye. And be out of there, be done. Because she said, no, I'm not going to obey you. You're just going to be in trouble. So number 5, if a woman calls the cops on you, leave and be done with her. Watch this from officers, reporters. Watch this.
Every little quarrel, they are ringing the cops. Every little quarrel, they are ringing the police. If you do this, it's not cool. If you have a habit of doing it, it's not cool. Yeah, we're in the Western world where everything works for the woman, sort of. The authority, the system protects the woman. But it doesn't mean that we don't have common sense. This happens all the time. I hear people coming saying it like it's fashion, that their husband did this, that, and they rang the police. And the police came and took them away. What are you teaching your kids? What kind of marriage are you creating for yourself? How will that man ever get to trust you? Women are meant to respect their husband no matter what they do. I'm not saying that men should get away with murder. No. But all I'm saying is calling the cops on your husband is not cool. Thank you.
Amazing. Good advice. It's not cool. When a woman called the cops on you, men, she said, I hate you. I hate your children. I hate myself. I hate you. And I'm going to make you suffer. And she knows that once she called that cop, she can't even change her mind. She can't say, I was just playing. And you are guilty without even proof, evidence. Before a trial, the cops assume that you did it. It's time to wake up. For those who like to wake up, you can wake up and have life, or you can stay asleep and have death. Anyway, Bible Thumper Thursday is set aside for everybody, but we talk to the Bible Thumper people, give them a little bit more time because it's kind of difficult to have like a normal conversation with the Bible Thumper. They just go from scriptures to scriptures to scriptures, blah, 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 right? And you're like, what the? Last night, they had the so-called Republican debate, the folks that's running for president. I did not watch it. I knew it was just going to be more of the same. And my mind is already made up anyway. And I'm waiting to vote for Trump, of course. But my mind is made up. And once a mind is made up, you can't convince it of anything else. What the? And so I knew it was just going to be a bunch of politics, saying and acting the same way. It was just a bunch of empty heads up there in the Republican debate last night, talking loud and saying nothing. So I didn't watch it. I watched a few of the sound bites this morning, and I was right. So I remembered they were going to have this debate, then I forgot, then I remember, and then I forgot, and then I didn't watch it. And I'm glad I did not. It was about nothing. Really just politics. Righto politics. We don't have any real people running our country anymore. Schools, jobs. It's all gone. It's amazing to see it, too. And I didn't realize how corrupt. I understand now, but how corrupt our government is. I've heard about third world countries where the government is like really corrupt. Our government's the same. What the, or even worse, they love money and they're angry. They're angry and they love money. They have fear. And 1 Timothy said, for the love of money, 6:10 said that for the love of money is the root of evil. Some people eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. That is so deep. That is deeper than what words can say. And having anger, you wandered from the faith because you live in your imagination. And in the imagination, there is no faith at all except in evil. You believe in evil. You worship evil. And all the thing that evil give you is grief. They have lost themselves by wandering from the light into the darkness. And everyone that has anger are living in darkness. Isn't that amazing? All in the name of Jesus. Bob Menendez, some of you know who he is. The NPR is reporting that Senator Bob Menendez, a Democrat from New Jersey, and his wife pleaded not guilty Wednesday to bribery charges in a federal court in Manhattan. Watch this from NBC.
A stunning corruption indictment tonight against Senator Bob Menendez. Prosecutors laying out what they say was a wide-ranging bribery scheme by the New Jersey Democrat, saying he and his wife accepted gold bars, piles of cash, and a Mercedes-Benz, all in an illegal effort to help 3 businessmen and Egyptian officials.
The senator and his wife accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes in exchange for Senator Menendez using his power and influence to protect and to enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt.
One of those businessmen, Fred Davies, is an admitted fraudster who allegedly paid Menendez and his wife with these gold bars. After getting the gold, the indictment says Menendez went online to search, how much is 1 kilo of gold worth? Senator Menendez and his wife both deny wrongdoing, saying forces behind the scenes are trying to silence him with false claims. There's been an active smear campaign of anonymous sources. The excesses of these prosecutors is apparent. They have misrepresented the normal work of a congressional office.
Hey, we have lost control of our government. It used to be we, the people, the government worked for us. That's long gone now. The government tricked the people and been giving them free stuff, pretend that they love them. And this is what we have. Big government lost people. The New York Post is reporting that a review of records shows Menendez has dropped over $298,000 at Morton's Steakhouse. I'm like, how can you eat that much steak? I'm thinking he did it in like maybe a couple months, but it's been going on for, I think Sean told me 3 years according to the report. Right, Sean? Since 2003. This guy, according to the New York Post, spent $298,000 at Morton's Steakhouse. That must be some good steak. I never heard of Morton's Steakhouse. I'm like, do they have that in California? What the? So anyway, he spent, according to the report, $298,000 at Morton's Steakhouse and charged the bill to donors at his Senate campaign committee, He is one of our regulars. I bet he is, $298,000. He could have bought another house. He is one of our regulars, a State House staffer confirmed. 298. I like steak, but not like that. And some of you might remember this, and some of you might not. But here he is. Menendez is talking about Donald Trump back in 2020. Watch this from Senator Bob Menendez. Watch this.
He made millions playing a billionaire businessman on TV, but in real life, Donald Trump was racking up huge losses and debts that he then used to get out of paying his fair share of federal taxes. He's a con artist who thinks that the rules don't apply to him. He is a liar, a fraud, and a failed businessman so deep in the red, he's a potential national security liability. I only hope the American people are catching on.
Wow, the guy with the gold bars. Amazing, huh? Hassan, you said there's a Morgan Steakhouse here?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, you been there?
I have.
Oh, you been there?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not with Menendez, though.
So the steak is expensive?
Yeah, it's a pretty pricey place.
And then, did you eat a steak?
I did.
Ooh, did you pay $298,000?
I don't know. I didn't pay.
Oh.
I don't ever pay when I go out to eat with people who have more money than me.
Nice.
That's my rule.
And you hear a lot, before I say that, you hear a lot of people say they get road rage, right? They get angry when they're driving at people. And a lot of times when I ask people about anger, they use this as an example. They get angry at people when they're driving, and they go off. And you see it more and more now when you're traveling the roads. The people arguing, and you can look over at a car and people are cursing each other out. And they blame other people for the way they feel. Proverbs 29:11 says, fools. You hear this? Fools. I ain't say that. Fools. This is Proverbs 29:11. Fools. Fools give full vent to their rage. But the wise bring calm in the end. CALM, in the end. Fools give full rage. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. And Ecclesiastes 7:9 says, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit. Y'all still believe anger is good? That's in the Word. So sound like the Word is calling people a fool that has rage, that has anger. You still think anger is good. You still think Christ was angry. You've been deceived by the preachers and by the devil in your own mind. They have told you anger is good. And it doesn't matter what type of job you have. It's the same. It doesn't matter what type of work you do. If you have not overcome anger, you're a fool. You're out of your mind. WTSP, the man accused of stabbing a person who crashed into his car on Tuesday morning, previously worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tampa. Watch this from 10 Tampa Bay.
This is what drivers who were there watched unfold live, of course, as they were on the ground with them.
Well, the Florida Highway Patrol has identified the man in that incident as 39-year-old Patrick Scruggs. Scruggs' LinkedIn page lists him as an attorney with Barnes and Thornburg. That's a law firm with offices around the country. The U.S. Attorney's Office also confirms to us that he served as an assistant U.S. attorney in Orlando between 2012 and April of this year. Scruggs is now accused of stabbing a driver several times along the Howard Franklin Bridge yesterday. Florida Highway Patrol says it started with an incident of someone apparently losing consciousness on the bridge. Another man and woman in a second car tried to render aid, but when the person in the first car regained consciousness, they say he tried to take off, striking the couple's car and then a third car, which was being driven by Scruggs. Investigators say that's when Scruggs exited his vehicle and began to stab the man. A witness, Tara Iglinski, captured these images that appear to show Scruggs with a knife in his hand and the driver wounded. Scruggs has now been charged with aggravated battery, a man who appears to have decades of experience with the law, now on the wrong side of it.
Amazing. You see how your little degree is not going to stop the spirit of anger? It's not going to stop you from going out of control. Your little degree is just a piece of paper. It does nothing for you, for your soul at all. It does a lot for your ego, though. It makes you think you are better. You're important, and you're not. Only your own mind. The New York Post reported that an Oklahoma judge was busted in Texas after an alarming binge of road rage fits. Including random drive-by shooting and ramming into a woman's car. I just come up as a female. A woman's car. Must be one of those electric cars, huh? Watch this from Oklahoma News 4.
A longtime Garfield County judge arrested in Texas.
According to Austin police, Judge Brian Lovell fired at several cars before he was involved in an alleged road rage crash.
Lovell was arrested last week for a series of events unfolding on Austin, Texas streets. Witnesses say they saw Lovell fire shots in as many as 5 cars at this intersection. Witnesses saying a man driving a white SUV left the scene. Police then got a second call of a road rage crash about 1.5 miles away. According to the affidavit, Lovell, driving a white SUV, slammed into the back of a woman's car. The two got into an argument, and Lovell reportedly intentionally hit her car a second time, attempting to push her vehicle into oncoming traffic. Police found a gun and magazine in his SUV. He reportedly told officers he did not know why he would have shot his gun and could not recall any part of the shooting incident.
Wow. A judge with a degree. Road rage. The same spirit that dwells in that man that will cause him to carry on like that dwells in you until you overcome it. I counsel with men and women who are suffering. They are blinded by rage, by anger. And they're making all the wrong decisions because they're living in the cell of anger. And they're walking around in that jail cell, prison cell, making decisions thinking that they're their own decision, and everything they decide is wrong. And if you say that you have forgiven, but you still have road rage, get angry on the road, there's something you're not seeing about yourself. You're not paying attention. You are not paying attention to what's happening in you. Oh my God. Reparation. So they're stealing, the blacks are stealing cell phones and refrigerators and microwaves and alcohol because they're hungry and they want reparation. They're going to eat those things. And they feel justified because they believe the lie that they need reparation. And the people who are telling them that are just using them for personal gain for themselves. Some of you might remember in 2019 when the blacks had the so-called the year of return. The EastAfrican.com, this is from EastAfrican.com, when Ghana declared 2019 the year of the return. It opened the floodgate for African Americans to move back to Africa. Remember that? The blacks were going back home. They returned home to, they call home a place they've never been. Well, I'm wondering out loud, how did that work out for them? Going back home to mommy Africa. That feels good and sounds good, huh? Well, mommy Africa. I'm wondering how is that working out for the blacks? Watch this from Backstory Africa. Backstory Africa, watch this.
This video will look at why some African Americans end up returning to the U.S. after making the move to Africa. First up, no jobs. Many African Americans hold the misconception that when they arrive in whichever African country they move to that they'll be able to easily get a job. Unlike the U.S., jobs in most African countries are scarce, with unemployment rates sometimes being as high as 50%.
Wow.
Western world conveniences. Only when arriving in Africa do they realize what they've taken for granted. For some folks, not having these Western conveniences is more important than they realized, and before long they start to miss the comforts of American living and end up moving back. Culture. African Americans often erroneously believe that when they move to Africa they'll fit right into the culture like a hand in a glove. Although their ancestors may hail from the African country they have moved to, being so many generations removed from this country means that culturally they have very little in common with these people. Don't be expecting grits and deep-fried chicken in Ghana. There aren't going to be any gospel singers in Senegal. Many people in Africa have never heard of Steve Harvey and don't care. The ones who try and adapt can sometimes make it work, But culture is a complex thing which is hard to articulate into words. Lack of choice. America is perhaps more the land of plenty than the land of the free. You never have a lack of choice when making a decision in America. If you want to book a flight from New York to Los Angeles, you can choose from more than 6 different airlines. In most African countries, you may only have one airline to choose from. If you want to furnish a house or apartment, you have a cornucopia of choice when it comes to sofas, rugs, and tables and chairs. In Africa, this choice will most certainly be more limited. African living has often not met their expectations, and they've ended up moving back to the States.
I rest my case. I rest my case. Just think about this now. Look like you already know this. It's not going to work in Africa. If you can't make it in America, ain't no way in. You're going to make it in Africa. Black people don't build anything. They can't take care of themselves. They're not innovated. They're not motivated. They need the white man. And you think the Africans are trying to move here, and you're going to leave here to go there? Can you be any blinder than that? You got to be out of your mind to think you're going to go to Africa and all going to be well. So they coming back home, the real home. How is that working out in mommy Africa? Y'all still going to act like you're going to Africa? And we saw that rioting a couple years ago now, I guess, with the radical socialist communist movement of the Black Lives Matter, right? Where are they now? Oh, they're in government. The Daily Mail is reporting looting rocked Philadelphia for us. Sorry about that. This is from CBS first. Multiple groups of looters hit retail stores and at least one small business in different Philadelphia neighborhoods on Tuesday night. I want you to see Black Excellence at work. Watch this compilation.
Looting at several popular stores in Center City and more looting here in Port Richmond. Sky Fox over what looks like a discarded merchandise situation all outside of a video game store there and a supermarket. It comes the same day charges were dismissed against a former Philadelphia police officer for fatally shooting a driver during a traffic stop.
There are stores like the Apple Store that were hit by looters.
People grabbed all these expensive Apple products, and then when you steal them out of an Apple store, they instantly don't work, and a camera comes on and a thing tells you, put this back to the Apple Store. So they realized it wasn't working, it was disabled, and they were just dropping them on the street.
Black Excellence.
Oh my God!
See how happy they are?
Okay, don't touch him. Oh my God, record this. Record this, record this.
Black Excellence.
Saw a bunch of people like just go into the Lululemon, clothes everywhere.
What was running through your mind?
I'm sitting by a window. I'm just gonna like look the other way. This is, yeah, it's kind of scary.
Poor white people. They're like, what the? White people just want to have a life. They want to work. They want to go get an education. They love a first-class life. And you got the blacks destroying it because they love a second-class life. And white people, how long will y'all look the other way? How long will you look the other way? And if you think looking the other way going to help the situation, you see these people don't care. They don't act like human beings at all. They act like animals, wild animals at that. They don't. If you ask, what was the name of the Mexican guy or black guy, whatever color you are, that the police allegedly shot? They wouldn't be able to tell you because it ain't about that. They have no love. They don't care about that. They have been trained for this occasion. They have been trained for destruction. And you don't hear a lot of blacks speaking out against it either. How often do you hear blacks speaking out against this mess. You'll hear one or two, that's about it. And they laughing and videotaping it and don't choke him, don't choke him, don't choke him. Black excellent at work. I'm so proud of the blacks. Not all, but most. I'm just so proud of y'all. Y'all make me so proud, make me want to grow a fro. So that happened the first night. According to the Daily Mail, looting rocked Philadelphia for a second night as brazen thieves ransacked a liquor store. Watch this from ABC.
Pockets of looting continued at Philadelphia businesses, including a fine wine and good spirits shop in the Crescentville section. Police arrested 2 people near Adams Avenue and East Tabor Road after spotting them loading up a car with liquor. The state store was not boarded up. Police say the 2 thieves were just helping themselves to what was left.
Police are now using this video for evidence. 21-year-old Deja Blackwell, known as Meatball on social media, live streaming Tuesday night, broadcasting what stores and what locations to loot. Now at least 52 people have been arrested, 3 of them juveniles, but mostly adults ranging in age. You see Blackwell crying in her mugshot.
It's just an excuse for them to act up. Like, it don't make no sense. Yeah. They tearing up our, the neighborhoods where we got to shop at and they got to shop at. So, they make it bad for everybody else.
Amazing. They don't care. Black have an attitude, they don't care. It ain't their stuff. And they hungry. They need reparation. And reparation will stop all this. Not getting a job. Not becoming responsible for your own stuff, your own life. Not acting like you got some sense. But they need reparation. They hungry. They so hungry, they steal cell phones and they videotape it and they laugh and they have fun and they beat up the cop because they ain't hungry. They steal liquor. And I want to know, do you think reparation is going to solve the problem? Watch this compilation.
There's only one thing that would stop our children from busting into these liquor stores and grocery stores, stealing junk food and stealing different things, and that's reparations.
I want to be very clear. Land.
At the end of the day, any amount is too little, and every amount is never enough.
I think the reparations should be as follows. It's to be gifted to us with gold and silver bullion. To, as I said before, my antebellum slaves and ancestors and their heirs. It should be measured in the amount of 1 troy ounce of gold and silver per each antebellum slave and their descendants, according to the conditions of the mother for 16 generations. That equals 1,724 metric tons of gold and silver bullion.
If somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it, because these businesses have insurance. They're going to get their money back. My people aren't getting anything.
Wow. See why they want the blacks looting and rioting and destroying? So they can go up and ask for reparation. It's about the money. It ain't about the blacks. It ain't about racism. It ain't about anything but money for themselves. So you hear the Biden administration and the liberal media saying that there's no problem at the borders, that the borders are just fine. And then there are people who believe it. When they hear the media say that, they believe that there's no problem at the border. Because the liberal media is not going to tell you the truth about it. Whatever this administration wants, that's what the media is going to do. It's not going to tell you what's happening at the border. So, no problem at the border, you say, right? Have you heard of anyone ever interviewing people stuck in barbed wire at the border? What the? If not, get ready. This is from Fox. Migrant caught in razor wire at southern border talked to Fox News' Griff Jenkins. Watch this from Fox.
want to give you a look here right along the razor wire. More than 50 migrants over here gathered, some women with small children. And you can see here, over here along the razor wire, you've got the Texas DPS and the National Guard stopping the migrants from coming through the razor. ¿De dónde eres? You can hear that, Bill. Venezuela, most of them are from Venezuela. And actually here, right at the very close next to the no trespassing city of Eagle Pass, you can see two women stuck in the razor wire here behind me. Hola, ¿cómo te llama? Ana, Ana, ¿por qué vienes ahora? Opportunity. She says her name is Ana from Venezuela. She says she's coming, Bill, for an opportunity. That's the scene right here. We'll see whether or not Border Patrol comes and cuts the wire, as we've seen them in past days do, to let these migrants through. Right now, it's a standoff.
Leave her in the wire. What the? So you still think things are fine at the borders? No problem. Oh, there's a problem at the border. And the wall going up. Amazing. Fox is, not Fox, but KATV is reporting on the people who are benefiting from what's happening at the borders. KATV, cartels and coyotes are reportedly earning, watch this, cartels and coyotes are reportedly earning around $13 billion a year. $13 billion a year by smuggling migrants, which are illegal aliens, migrants across the United States-Mexico borders. Isn't that amazing? That's a lot of money, $13 billion. An amount that has soared from 2018 numbers of just 500 million. So in 2018, they were getting 500 million for bringing illegal aliens into our country. Now they're getting $13 billion, according to KATV. It's becoming so Spanish, America is. According to Breitbart, a Univision anchor opened a second debate in Spanish. Watch this from Fox.
Welcome to the second Republican debate of the 2024 primary. And I am thrilled to be sitting alongside my co-moderators, Fox News Channel Dana Perino and Ilya Calderon, Univision.
Good evening. Thank you, Stuart. Please allow me to welcome our Spanish-speaking audience. Muy buenas noches a todos. Desde la Biblioteca Presidencial Ronald Reagan, los precandidatos republicanos también buscan su voto para las primarias del partido. Bienvenidos.
And good evening.
That is so wrong. It's not even funny. English only in America. How about English only? She interpreting. And that's conservative news, supposed to be. So they're supporting the illegal aliens when they speak Spanish. How about English? We're not a Spanish country. And they had that second so-called debate with the Republicans that are running. It was dumb. I didn't even watch it. I saw the soundbites later because I already know these people are not about nothing. Rhino Republicans, politicians, saying the same dumb thing over and over again and acting like out-of-control children. Do you really think these are the type of people you want to work for you? You want them to be your public servant? Watch this from Fox and let me know if you want these people to run your country. Watch this from Fox.
How will you reach out to Latino voters?
If you lead by example, it's the best way to get the job done. If you look at my office in the Senate, my chief of staff is the only Hispanic female chief of staff in the Senate. You can't be on both sides.
Right.
Gentlemen, you'll have your turn. One of the gentlemen, and then you want to Wonders,
So listen up.
we should
Please focus on the issues that matter.
between
We know we did.
It's a fact, though.
I loaded up our
You are leaders who lead by example.
Poor Tim Scott. Don't blame him. He and his mama grew up in a one-room house. You should lead by example. He the only one got a Mexican in his office. That's right on. That's exactly what the Democrats do. I want my country back. But unfortunately, my country is not coming back. That's just reality. It's the truth. It's not coming back. It's over. And believe me, they want you to be angry. They're encouraging you to be angry. Because anger is evil, and anyone that has anger has fear, and they're blind and can't see. They're pushing it now like I've never seen it before. Even the churches are pushing you to be angry. They said anger is from Jesus' anger. They lying, but they said they're pushing anger. Pushing the devil's religion. They're pushing the devil's religion. The government's doing it. The churches are doing it. Family members are doing it. The so-called experts are doing it. It's the number one religion in America now. Anger is. Because anger is evil. Reuters is reporting that here is Barack Obama urging young people to pressure their leader to do more to combat climate change. Watch this compilation.
Is that the most important energy in this movement is coming from young people. They have more stake in this fight than anybody else. And you've been bombarded with warnings about what the future will look like if you don't address climate change. And meanwhile, you've grown up watching many of the adults who are in positions to do something about it either act like the problem doesn't exist or refuse to make the hard decisions necessary to address it. And that's a source of real anxiety and real anger at older people. And that's why my message to young people begins with acknowledging you are right to be frustrated.
No, you're not.
I want you to stay angry.
See there? That's the
I
devil.
want you to stay frustrated.
Wow.
But channel that anger. Harness that frustration. Keep pushing harder and harder for more and more.
Amazing, huh? Anyone, that's evil. Barack Obama, the fallen Messiah, is evil for doing that. Because he's worshiping the devil. He supported the devil. He wants you in hell with him. Isn't that amazing? Stay with it. I want you to be angry. I'm telling you, do what you want, but look at your own life for yourself and see what anger has done for you. Do you feel good being angry? Yes, there are some people have a false feeling of feeling good for being angry, but anger is not good, folks.